vaccinated.
But first at 5, play at the Women's Amateur Championship suspended a few minutes ago because of some stormy weather we have moving in. We've been tracking that.
That's right. The women had to stop play shortly after 4:30 this afternoon. Players who did not finish today will pick back up tomorrow.
So let's check in right now with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale.
A great key in both life and golf, balance. At Champions Retreat, Mike Akashonis on your side.
Thanks so much, Mike. Again, play is suspended now because of some bad weather that we are continuing to track. But as the play ended, the leader was Catherine Smith at 4 under par, 3-shot lead, with 5 other players tied for second at 1 under. Again, all the players are off the course right now. They will pick up with their first round tomorrow. Switching gears now to vaccine efforts. When it comes to the Pfizer vaccine, timing can be tricky. Once those doses are thought out, they have a limited time to use them before they go bad.
Iken Regional is actually running into issues with demand. According to officials, they have more than enough supply. Today, we wanted to find out why more people aren't flocking to get the vaccine at the hospital. Our Wrdw is live in the studio with some insight.
Well, as vaccine eligibility opens up in South Carolina, Iken Regional is doing their best to get as many of the vaccines into the arms of South Carolinians. They say the rural population is hard to reach and people just aren't showing up. Today's Iken Regional Moderna vaccine, this clinic operates differently than ones we've seen on the other side of the river. Walk-ins are welcome at the USC Aiken Student Activity Center. As vaccine eligibility opens up for everyone in the state, they're hoping to see lines out the door, but that hasn't been the case. They say they have over 1,000 first doses they need to give out, but people aren't signing up in their systems. It's still the same issue of people not having access to technology to sign up and hear about the opportunity to get the vaccine.
Some people have difficulty signing up on a computer system. Some people don't have a computer system. It's much easier for them to be able to have a walk-in, so that's why we've advertised walk-ins to hopefully bring in more people, as many as we can.
Iken Regional says they will start to phase out those vaccines to local drugstores and doctors' offices because they will have more access to the vaccine and it will be on a walk-in basis.
Good to see them making it as available as possible. Thanks, Will. DHEC tells us a new study of the Pfizer vaccine in kids is promising, but it's still too early to tell when they'll be allowed to get the vaccine. They also say a 4th surge is possible with more people letting their guard down these days, more travel, not as much mask wearing. Officials say not enough people have the vaccine in their arms yet either. And DHEC says South Carolina is slightly above average when it comes to the number of people vaccinated statewide. Publix announcing today it has vaccine appointments opening in both Georgia and South Carolina. In Georgia, you can get an appointment at the locations in Columbia and Richmond County. Across the river, there are openings right now in Aiken County. Head to our website and search vaccines to find that link for you to register.
While the vaccine is providing hope, cases in 27 states are on the rise. Restrictions are easing in both Georgia and in South Carolina, but officials say wearing a mask is still the key to preventing a 4th surge. One man who wasn't allowed to go to an Athens courtroom without a mask says he refuses to wear one because of his religion.
On a religious level, I believe that the mask is a symbol of evil. It is basically, in my opinion, just worshiping Satan.
It is still a highly contagious virus, much more contagious than influenza, and it has become increasingly contagious as it is mutated.
President Joe Biden has asked that all states reinstate their mask mandates, but he has not forced any of them to. If you're falling behind on rent or if you're at risk of eviction, there is help. The portal to apply for Georgia's rentals assistance is open. It is for both landlords and tenants. More than $550 million are available. There are some requirements, though, to be eligible. Some of those include qualifying for unemployment or experiencing a significant drop in income. Search rental assistance on our website for the link to the portal and, of course, those requirements if you need another look. Project Life Augusta finally got to hold its community resource fair today. It was postponed a couple of weeks ago because of weather. Volunteers helped the community get free clothes, food, and haircuts. They also gave free health assessments. Several different organizations came together to bring the event to the community.
Before we knew it, we had like 5, 10, and today we're up to 35 different vendors, community organizations, nonprofits, just people who are serving the community and providing services in most cases at free or very reduced cost.
Officials say after today's overwhelming response, there will be more events to come. Right now, they don't have any exact dates set up, but of course, we'll let you know once they do.
Richmond County parents, it's your last chance to weigh in on school district rezoning. The way it stands now, students at these schools will be affected: Murphy Middle, Richmond Hill K through 8, Wheelers Road Elementary, Haynes Elementary, Diamond Lakes Elementary, and Willis Foreman Elementary. There is a virtual public hearing tonight. It starts at 6 o'clock, and we have a link for you to watch posted on the website. If you want to call into the meeting to ask a question, you can do that by calling 706-826-1394. That's on your screen. We'll be sure to put it on the website as well. Tomorrow, Golden Harvest will serve meals to families in need at its new Aiken warehouse location on Capitol Drive. That'll start at 2 in the afternoon. Officials say calls for food in the area have doubled since the pandemic started. To combat the crisis, the food bank is partnering with Wheels Up. The groups are pledging 100,000 meals for families across 25 counties as a service area.
Check this out. It's a new mural going up in downtown Augusta. This one is over on Ellis Street, right next to the Yes You Can mural. It's being done by some familiar local artists: Leonard, Porkchop, Zimmerman, and Jay Jacobs. They're honoring women for Women's History Month with the message, "Nothing without a woman," or a girl, of course, paying homage to a famous James Brown song.
Right there.
Ooh, remember when he sang it with Pavarotti?
Oh, man.
Whew.
It's good stuff. All
Sure
on
is.
YouTube. Go back.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Also downtown near Ellis Street, film crews still shooting for the movie we told you about, the one starring Mel Gibson. Our crews were able to get some footage of the film crews setting up a scene. Officials tell us the intersection of Ellis and 8th Street will be closed until Friday morning for filming. So who knows? We might get another glimpse of Mel.
And a lot of people said in the Mural with Clint Eastwood, you could hardly tell it was Augusta. I think this is going to have Augusta written all over.
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to have a lot of our local scenery there. Okay, throughout the years, the way we chase down jobs and internships, that has always been changing. But now it is Generation Z's turn. We're going to tell you about a new platform helping the next generation get that job.
And we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect for portions of central and northern Aiken County for the threat of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, hail, and frequent cloudy ground lightning. Much more coming up in your First Alert forecast next.
To vote no on Senate Bill 1.
Generation Z is a unique generation. Many of them started joining the workforce just as that pandemic came rolling in.
Yeah, welcome to adulthood in weird times, right? So they had two choices: wait it out or get creative. Many of them found a site similar to LinkedIn called Tallow. This new site allows them to showcase their talents beyond the resume. Jillian Angeline gives us some more.
I was very nervous about finding a potential internship.
Like many Americans, the pandemic left Sydney Beasley's future uncertain. Beasley is a college student at Xavier University of Louisiana and a member of Generation Z, anyone born between 1997 and 2015. With in-person networking opportunities for jobs and scholarships no longer possible, she turned to Tallow, an online networking website, and secured an internship for this summer.
It was actually a very easy process.
We're Tallow. Tallow is one of many social platforms designed to help students and young adults access internship opportunities and full-time jobs in many career fields. Last year, during the pandemic, more than 600,000 Generation Zers started using Tallow, doubling its size. CEO Casey Welch says the platform is similar to LinkedIn, but it's designed for the next generation.
This generation is adaptable.
Tallow encourages users to showcase their education, certifications, skills, and most importantly, according to Welch, future aspirations.
We can highlight those skills that aren't just a test score, a grade, or a GPA, because that leaves a lot of great candidates out of it.
But making an online profile doesn't come without risks. Cybersecurity expert Ketron Evans at the InfoSec Institute warns, be careful about the personal information you post.
Once you put it out there, there's literally no possible way to get it back.
Evans tells me before you sign up for any website or app, make sure it has privacy and security controls in place. He also recommends making sure you can control who has access to your personal information. Tallow allows recruiters to see students' information, but students cannot see each other's profiles. Welch tells me he's confident in Tallow's security safeguards, including conducting background checks on its recruiters and keeping students' contact information private. In Washington, Jillian Angeline.
So everybody's looking for the new way to connect. And I just met with a job candidate yesterday who had no reel to offer, nothing in hand. It was all on her website. So we were off to the website we went.
I know. When I got all of my jobs, this is going to date me so much. I mailed VHS tape.
Right.
Does anybody remember a VHS? I don't even think my child, who is 10, has seen one play on TV.
I'll go back to 3/4-inch tape. That's all I'm talking about. At least it's not film.
That's true. That's true.
Film, but it's 3/4-inch.
That's true.
Glad we're not having to mail stuff.
Got the hand crank for the camera.
Thanks.
Almost that bad. Moving pictures.
They were in black and white.
I'm leaving.
Oh man, we love you, Richard. As soon as possible, but for the meantime, we can go back to regular programming.
Riley, thanks very much to you and the team for tracking that for us throughout the afternoon. We'll go back to them just as soon as the situation warrants. But also just into our newsroom this evening, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp laying out plans to start rolling back many of the state COVID restrictions.
He just signed an executive order set to take effect next Thursday, and that ends the state's ban on large gatherings. It gets rid of those shelter-in-place requirements, and it cuts the list of safety guidelines in places of business.
Right. The governor also signed a couple of other executive orders. One extends Georgia's public health state of emergency through the end of April. The other one allows state agency employees to get a vaccine without having to use PTO to do that. Well, more shots in more arms.
That's exactly right. Day one of the Augusta National Women's Amateur Tournament wrapped up a little earlier than expected as those storms rolled in this afternoon. They just suspended play in the last hour, so we're going to check in with sports director Mike Iacochonis for what happens next in just a couple of minutes.
While we love the golf and the people it brings to Augusta, it's safe to say none of us like the traffic that comes along with it every year.
Yeah, and you may think with fewer patrons this year, it won't be an issue, you won't even notice, but city officials say, think again. Cindy Heiberger explains for Augusta's traffic engineering department, a lot of the planning for this year's tournament has really been a guessing game.
Where Washington Road would usually see about 110,000 cars during Masters Week, traffic engineers expect just about 65,000.
Because of the reduced number of patrons, that's what we've been told to expect for this year.
But fewer patrons doesn't mean no traffic. Normally, traffic engineering would divert cars from Washington Road to Riverwatch or Walton Way. But not this year.
In the morning should be pretty normal. In the afternoon, if you're going to use Washington Road, you will see additional traffic, you will see delays.
Trying to guess how many people without tournament tickets will come or how many locals won't leave town during the tournament also poses a challenge.
On a normal Masters, we just sort of go through the same routine. This year, because it's sort of in between November's Masters, which had no patrons, and a normal Masters, which has a lot of patrons, we have to kind of reinvent everything.
So John Ussery says they're preparing for all scenarios. You won't see traffic barriers or lane reconfigurations this year, but should traffic become worse than expected, the department says they'll be ready.
In the back of our mind, we are ready to install the normal Masters items that we would normally do. Even though they may not be on the road, we have them staged sort of off to the side.
And one thing the traffic engineering department will do, they say, is install pedestrian barriers to help with all that foot traffic. That'll probably happen Friday. They'll also be controlling the traffic lights manually, as they usually do Masters Week from the Traffic Management Center to help ease with the traffic flow.
It is almost Masters Week in Augusta. Our crews were out on the golf course today for round one over in Champions Retreat. Let's send it over now to sports director Mike Iacochonis. He was also there, but he's live in the studio now with the highlights before they had to shut things down. Mike.
Yeah, after it already been a slower round, we did have that weather delay come in right around 4:45. We're still seeing if they're going to be able to finish up the first round, but based on what I'm seeing outside, I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but we'll see. Regardless, the trend today was a big change in the way the course was playing. While many of the players felt that the course was soft during the practice round, today's take was that everything had firmed up. It's tough when you go from soft to hard, especially when it comes to putting. Prior to the delay, only 6 players were under par. The rest of the field, including third-ranked amateur in the world, Pauline Russin-Bouchard, was over par.
Tough day for me today. I really handled the par 5s really badly. So I lost a couple shots on that, and then I mean it was tough out there with the wind and all that.
It was definitely windy, but at only 2 over, Bouchard is very much still in the mix. Also very much In the running is Georgia's Katarina Don. Katarina had the advantage of having played in the inaugural tournament. Don felt that she could have played better overall, but isn't planning to change her approach to tomorrow's round.
I'm just going to go out the same way I did today, try to do my best, and, everything can happen, and this is a hard golf course, so I'm just going to accept whatever I get.
If Dawn is able to play golf at just 1 over again tomorrow, she should be in great shape to play for the championship at the National on Saturday. With today's weather, it's likely we see the course soften up even more this evening. Maybe that'll help bring down the scores a bit, but again, this is still anyone's tournament at this point.
And we will be watching exciting times over there. Thanks for that, Mike. It's not just athletes in town, though. Today was day 2 of Senator John Ossoff's visits to Augusta. He was over at Craig Houghton Elementary to check out the COVID vaccine site they have set up there. He talked about the more than $100 million Richmond County Schools is getting from the American Rescue Plan. He says the focus is on ramping up the vaccine rollout to hopefully get schools fully reopened by fall.
I think Richmond County is doing an outstanding job. I think that it's a continuous effort to ensure that folks in the community who are often ignored and left behind, that communities of color, that working class people in this area have equal access and equitable access to the vaccine. And that's partly what these resources that Senator Warnock and I have helped deliver from the Senate are intended to do.
Today, Senator Ossoff said $112 million is on its way to Richmond County schools. But last night, the district announced it was getting $117 million. So we did reach out for a little more clarification. Richmond County just got back to us saying it is about $117 million. So some serious cash flow heading their way.
Anyway, you slice it, a lot of money. Everyone 16 and older on both sides of the river can now sign up to get the vaccine. South Carolina just expanding its eligibility to 16 and 17-year-olds today. Georgia made that same move last week.
And it is a big step in the right direction, but some local health providers are worried there might be more supply than demand. Today's Aiken Regional Moderna vaccine clinic was walk-in only. They say it's an effort to really try to get more people from those rural areas in who might have trouble scheduling appointments online. Lately, Aiken Regional has been struggling to get doses in arms, but today they were able to administer 800 vaccines. That's 100 more than they were expecting. Health experts in South Carolina and Georgia say we're still far from getting back to normal. The best way to get there, though, is to get the shot.
The bottom line is we need to get more people vaccinated. We're still looking at small percentages of the population that have been vaccinated. And even though we're getting the highest risk people vaccinating in high percentages, and that certainly will help us, we've still got a large number of people that need to be vaccinated.
So this is hard to hear, but this is what they're saying. It is not time to let our guards down. You need to wear your mask. You need to social distance. It's still just as important as getting your vaccine.
And now that those younger groups are eligible, it's a good time to remind you the Pfizer vaccine is the only vaccine available for 16 and 17-year-olds. The Moderna and Johnson & Johnson vaccines are only for people 18 and older. 100% effective. That is the headline from Pfizer today from its newest trial for kids. And tonight, the I-Team is taking a closer look at that data.
And here is what we found. 2,260 U.S. kids ages 12 to 15 participated in this study. And there were 0 cases of COVID-19 in those kids who were fully vaccinated. 0 is pretty good. The placebo group reported 18 cases of coronavirus, so you can kind of compare that. Researchers also found kids in that age range had high levels of virus-fighting antibodies, reportedly found to be even higher than those recorded in young adults. So kids are able to fight this thing. Kids reported some similar side effects from the vaccine as we're seeing from adults: pain, fever, chills, fatigue. Primarily, those were reported after the second dose. But the study is still considered small, so it's yet to be published. The researchers say they'll monitor the group for another 2 years to determine those long-term safety repercussions and long-term protection from the virus. But children only represent 13% of COVID-19 cases in America, so we know that this isn't a virus that typically affects kids the most. But while they typically don't see those severe cases, 268 American kids have died from COVID-19. Our I-Team found 10 of those are right here in Georgia, and we know of at least one local teen with a disability who has died. 13,500 across the country have been hospitalized. That's according to the American Academy of Pediatrics. And this is surprising. They said that is more than the annual flu. We really haven't harped on those numbers since this is a disease that really affects adults more, but it's a lot of kids being hospitalized. Our I-Team found 1,173 kids under 17 have been hospitalized here in Georgia. So obviously parents who want to vaccinate their kids will find this study to be good news. Pfizer does plan to ask the FDA for emergency use of the shots for those 12 and up here in the next few weeks. So if that's approved, that group could get shots by the time they head back to school this fall. And Pfizer vaccines are already approved for kids 16 and up. Moderna and Johnson & Johnson, they're running trials on even younger kids as we speak.
Thanks for that, Laura. Happening now, the Richmond County Board of Education meeting to talk about rezoning plans. The schools listed here on the screen are the ones that could be affected by this. It is a virtual hearing open to the public going on now. It just started at 6 o'clock, so there's still a lot of time for you to drop in and hear what you need to hear. We have a link to watch and the phone number to call in with questions on the website as well as the WRDW app. Busy day in the Weather Center, Riley.
Definitely is, Richard. We're still keeping an eye on a few.
Real Steel. Find yours at steeldealers.com.
That movie filming downtown we've been telling you about this week is shutting down another section of the downtown area. We did spot Mel Gibson in that trench coat on Monday, but today filmmakers told us the intersection of Ellis and 8th Streets, they're going to be blocked off until Friday morning, so you might want to avoid that part of Augusta's downtown.
Or you might want to get lunch in that part of downtown so you can see it. But also on Ellis Street, a new mural is in the works. This one is in honor of Women's History Month and also gives a nod to Augusta native James Brown. The mural was painted by Leonard Porkchop Zimmerman and Jay Jacobs. Me too. It reads, "Nothing without a woman or a girl," and you probably can recognize that famous song.
Famous James Brown lyric, "A man's world," used now to salute the women.
I like it.
Nice twist there. Riley.
All right, another look at radar.